is Baselworld 2019. We're in the main hall, what used to be home to the Swatch Group Village. Now, aside from looking quite different from last year, it also feels a little bit more empty. What will the future of Baselworld be? And can they reinvent themselves enough to survive? On today's Newsmaker, we speak to the man who is on a mission to rescue Baselworld. He is the fair's new managing director, Michel Loris-Melikoff. All right, so let's just review the scenario when you took this office, like, I don't know, not even a year ago. Okay, so MCH Group had lost their longtime CEO, immense financial pressure on the company with the share price dropping, Baselworld no longer the biggest fair after Hong Kong exhibitors numbers also dropping, Swatch pulls out, pressure on the fair to be relevant in the face of e-commerce. I mean, pressure to match these days with SIHH. I'm exhausted just thinking about all of these things that were on your plate. What made you say, yes, I want to take on this challenge?
Well, first of all, to make it sure, I'm not masochist. So
You're not a masochist.
I am not, definitely not. So when I accepted this challenge, that was precisely 1 year before. It was around April. So at that time, I knew that Baselworld had to be transformed. I knew that there were a lot of exhibitors that were not happy with Baselworld. I didn't know that Swatch will drop out, so this was not yet known. I accepted this challenge. Why? Because I need challenge. I love this.
You must.
And I got it, definitely. And I would say I already knew that there will be a lot of work. We need a new team, a bigger one, new competences, new ideas, and that we have to work much closer with our exhibitors, but not only with our exhibitors, but also with their clients. That means also retailers, also buyers, also journalists, also influencers, etc., etc. So this was known when I signed the contract. And then in August, we had this new situation with Swatch. It made finally my challenge just a little bit more spicy.
You're a very positive person, I can tell already.
Well, you know, Baselworld is a wonderful show. We talk here about passion, we talk about watches, jewelry, stones, a lot of passionate designers, producers, retailers, and we have to get this passion back.
Okay. And so you feel like the passion was lost somewhere along the way?
Yes, probably. It was just a show, and it was, people came to Basel because the whole industry comes to Basel. And my goal is that when people come in the future to Basel, that they have this kind of magic in their eyes, you know, this kind of surprise when they arrive, and they wonder what is the surprise of next Baselworld, what will be the next issue, etc., etc. And we live this passion, and when I talk to all these exhibitors around us, they have exactly the same passion, because for them it's also a surprise, a magic moment when they publish, when they present their new products, and we want to share exactly this same magic.
Well, tell me, what then was at the top of your list when you first took on the job?
Well, the list was already very long. So top of the list was probably the hospitality. We knew that a lot of exhibitors were not happy about the pricing in the hotels, in the restaurants. People complained about the catering situation here in the venue. So this was one big subject, hospitality. And you know, in event business, there are 2 or 3 things that should be really perfect. If you don't want to make angry your visitor, your guest, it's the same at home. And the first one is hospitality, and the second one is catering. If you fail in these 2 subjects, you seriously have a problem. So The catering, as I love good cuisine, haute cuisine, I love it. I love eating. We thought about the catering offer here at Baselworld, but also around Baselworld. And we are very proud and happy that 30 restaurants in Fine, they signed a contract not to higher the prices.
To raise the prices.
To raise the price, exactly. And here in the venue, we have, in every floor, we have new restaurant facilities with different kinds of haute cuisine and healthy food takeaway with bio, salad, etc., etc. So this was the first subject. Then the hotel situation, we got a deal with 75% of the hotelier in Basel.
It's like a fair agreement, right?
Yes, so this is a first step, and I think we can do furthermore. But now for this year, it's really a good thing. So
what could you do differently? What do you think could still be done?
Well, I think, you know, honestly, I'm living now in a 3-star hotel very close to Baselworld, and the quality is okay. But when I arrive as a guest, as a Baselworld guest in my hotel room, I want to have a surprise, something, you know, something special. You know, this magic moment has to begin when you arrive in Basel. And when you arrive in your hotel room, you just want to have a small surprise, just that people know that you're really welcome, and that it's, you know, just a little surprise, for example.
Okay.
So this is in a very general way hospitality, but we also changed on my list the way of communication.
Okay.
I think it's
with who, among who? I mean.
Well, with journalists, then of course also with our clients. For me, it was very important to be very close to them. As I am not, I did not my career in this industry. For me, everything was new.
Yes.
So I had to
Your background is actually an event.
Yes.
Events. Well,
So,
background. You're a lawyer and a banker.
Exactly. Exactly.
But well, the most recent is.
I have 25
events.
years experience in event business, so I know how to organize an event and how to make visitors happy and to surprise them, and the emotional aspect of an event, I know how to do.
Yes.
But I didn't know anything about watch industry, jewelry industry, gem industry, so this was totally new for me. And the best way to know what our clients were missing was to talk to them. And when I started, I had a big problem. I couldn't find the right commercial director, so I had to do both. Being CEO, managing director, and at the same time commercial director. So I had to see all clients, and that was a wonderful experience, because when you talk to them, you know where is the problem, what was going wrong in the past years, and therefore I'm very thankful for all these wonderful exchanges I had with all these different clients. And
you were able to put some of these things into practice and recreating.
Yes, and you know, we in August we did a survey, and the results of all these interviews allowed us finally to define the new vision of 2020. This was the I would say one of the pillars of this new vision. To understand.
Which we're not going to talk about just yet.
No.
Okay.
No. We are going to talk later on.
We're going to talk about that later on, because I do want to get through 2019 first, because, you know, of course we've heard a lot about how Baselworld is reinventing itself in 2020, right?
Yeah.
So yes, that's the vision.
This
is
is
what we're
on.
talking about later. But 2019 is very much kind of a transition year. So what can we expect from this year? What does that mean? Where does that leave 2019?
Well, it means also in terms. I continue with communication. So also the way we communicate. You know, we are all part of this Baselworld. You as journalists, exhibitors, the producers, the visitors, the retailers. So we all are Baselworld. And I cannot understand that the management or other persons treat other participants in a very arrogant way. It doesn't make sense. So we are all part of this family, and we all do our business to make this industry improve. There is a reason why people come to Baselworld. They have an objective, and my job is with my team to create the perfect platform that they can achieve their goals. That's it. It's so easy. So we have to understand them, and you can understand an exhibitor by having a close relationship with him, and so this is very important. The last point I want to mention, what changed in 2019 is the layout. There were a few changes. We did a few changes in the layout. So Les Ateliers that were formerly in the first floor, we put them also on the ground floor on the same level as the big brands here around us. They are in the 1,000th part of this building. They have a separate entrance.
Yes.
That was very important that they have really a good visibility, because I think there are quite a lot of very, very interesting young brands and very creative brands.
And the incubator.
And the incubator is as well in this area. So this is something much smaller. I think it's also
For startups,
yeah, it's
what is that? Watch startups.
It's our role. It's our duty to give them a platform, to make them to present them a platform where they can show their creativity and what they are able to do. So we have Les Ateliers, we have the incubator.
And did you lower the fees also for the exhibition
Yes,
fees? Because that was also something that they were complaining about.
You know, honestly, when you organize a show, this is an issue you have every year. Everybody complains about the price.
Cost per meter.
Yeah, cost per square meters, but what is important to know in this context is that the price of the square meter is only 20, maybe 30% of the total cost an exhibitor has. So the booth construction is also a very important part of this budget an exhibitor has, and of course the hospitality, the hotel costs we talked about,
right.
And other costs. So in these 9 months, I made an analysis about concerning the price. We changed a few prices, but we are actually working on a new pricing model that will be presented for Baselworld 2020.
Oh, okay. So again, this is also in transition.
Yes, and you know, finally, Switzerland is expensive. I'm not going to tell you something else. We are an expensive country, that's it. But you know, if you buy a BMW, you want to have the quality of a BMW. And so the return on investment and the price, the content of the price you pay must be the right one. And I think here we can improve.
All right, and of course we can't talk about Baselworld 2019 without addressing the missing exhibitor, which is Swatch, as we know, pulled out in August. Tell me, in a recent press conference where they gave their annual report, Nick Hayek said that there's no need for these kinds of fairs anymore, and that the world has changed. I mean, what do you make of that, and do you care? I mean, does Baselworld need Swatch?
Well, of course, the world is changing, hopefully, and that the world is changing, and that we consider these changes is shown here at Baselworld 2019, but as well in 2020. So we have to change. I totally agree with Nick Hayek when he says that we have to change. Yes, he is totally right. Now,
so that the fairs are no longer relevant?
No, that's not the same. So what I think is, ask here the 500 exhibitors, why do they come to Basel? Because a lot of them are not in terms of importance, turnover. They cannot afford to have their own roadshow running around the world. They cannot do it. They need a place where to meet the whole industry during a few days. And in that context, maybe we also should mention what Mr. Beaver said last year after Baselworld. He said that finally this kind of show is so important because you meet the whole industry. You meet the journalists, you meet the buyers, the retailers, the producer at one place during one time, one precise time. Now imagine if all these companies start doing roadshows all over the world. The feedback I got from the retailers is they told me, well, do we have the time to go all 3 or 4 weeks to a roadshow? So for us,
Even though they're doing it, you know, Swatch is doing a presentation during Baselworld, but in Zurich.
Now in Zurich, yes.
Yeah.
But all these retailers, of course, they are now in Zurich. They will come to Basel, so it's fine for me. It's fine for them because they can do both shows.
We're going to talk about that Basel Reloaded for 2020 in just a minute. But before we get there, I would like to just address the exhibitors. So they are down again to about 500 this year.
Yeah.
And you know, unfortunately, Baselworld has been dethroned as the largest fair in the world. Now it's second to the Hong Kong Watch Fair. Are you discouraged by these numbers?
No, finally no. You know, when I started, I knew that probably we will have less exhibitors due to the drop-off of Swatch. So we expected that we could be slightly under 600.
In the heyday, it was like 1900, right?
Yeah, that was the past. You know, in the meantime, a lot of companies do not exist anymore. They changed their marketing strategy, so for them it doesn't make sense to be at a show like Baselworld. So the market is in evolution, and I think there will be less companies coming than in the past. But now it's up to us finally to show to the industry that Baselworld is doing this transformation, and I'm deeply convinced that they will come back to Baselworld. So we have to do now our job. It has not been done maybe the last years, now we have to do it. And if we do right, we will see the results in the next years.
Mm-hmm. Now, I just wonder that the weakening of Baselworld is also an opportunity for Hong Kong because they're closer to the market that everybody wants to get their hands on.
Yes, but the Swiss watchmakers, they are in Switzerland. Even if the biggest market and the market that improves in a very impressive way, the Swiss watchmaker, they are here in Switzerland, so it makes sense that we have strong shows here in Switzerland.
And Japan also coming back this year, as I understood it, wanting even more exhibition space?
Yes, we are talking about additional exhibition space for the future, so these are ongoing discussions and I won't comment it anymore.
All right, earlier we mentioned at the top of the first part of the interview, we mentioned that the MCH group in particular, when we spoke to the interim CEO, was saying that there was tremendous financial pressure, of course. You know, the share price dropped from 80 that it was this time last year, still below 20 Swiss francs a share. I mean, how do you deal with this kind of pressure in your daily business?
Well, you know, in our position, we should be able to manage this kind of pressure. When you organize shows or events, you have years that work better and others that are a little bit under pressure. That's normal. Maybe we at Baselworld, as Baselworld is quite important for MCH Group, we feel actually a little bit more pressure, but that's okay. I'm totally focused on the show, and Hans Christian, he is focused on MCH. And as we talk every day to each other, we can also share a lot of points that are in common.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about then Baselworld 2020. I know you already told me that you cannot tell me a lot about it, but you have to be able to give me a glimpse. I mean...
Yeah, what do you want to hear?
Well, what can I expect? What will make it, will it be massively different from what I'm seeing around me right now?
I think, let's start by the audience, respectively by the visitor that will come to Baselworld. Today, Baselworld receives retailers, mainly retailers. They are the key attraction, or the show is done for them.
B2B, right?
B2B, exactly. The future of Baselworld will be opener. We are going to open Baselworld not only to B2B, but Baselworld should be or should become a platform for the community. And who is in this community? Who is in this watch, jewelry, gem community? You as journalists, the retailers are in this community, we as well.
But consumers? I mean, you wouldn't open it up
Maybe
B2C.
the consumers, maybe the collectors. So the C for me stands not for consumer, but for the community. And we are part of this community. So when we talk about experience platform, it means that this community probably communicates during 51 weeks in a digital way, multilaterally. And during one week, this community meets here in Basel. And when we talk about experience, it means that the experience people want to live here in Basel shouldn't be the same as they live in digitally. So,
yeah, you have to provide something that
exactly
brings them physically here.
Exactly, and it has to be. This makes this experience. So we have to present here things, formats, content,
shows.
Of course,
events are your thing.
Yeah, of course, we are talking about more events, more conferences. For example, CEO talks, but also workshops. The education aspect is a very important one. I think we should also talk, and we are going to talk about digital transformation. This is also part of the future.
Part of everything.
Yes, exactly. And so all details and what we are thinking about this future will be presented on 26 March. So I'm not going more into details.
Okay. All right, so more community, more connectivity. This is where we're going with Baselworld. Yeah. But do you find that more show, more fanfare, does that take away from
it's part,
culture?
You see on other shows, you see this kind of award nights and gala nights and more entertainment activity. Think about all these visitors that come to Basel. What do they want to do after the visit here on site? They want to live something. They want to see, to make an experience in Basel.
Right.
So we have to motivate all organizers.
So you're going to go outside of the fair even to organize an experience?
Well, just
that it spills out of the...
Yes, of course. So we are already talking to hoteliers, to restaurants, to organizers around Basel to create more content, to do something for all these visitors.
Mm-hmm. Which is where I guess you could really draw on your experience as president of the Zurich Street Parade for 6 years, because talk about a spectacle.
You are not the first to ask me this question, whether
How can I not?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing you speak and I'm hearing the events, the event professional.
So we are, the goal is not to have 1 million people walking through the booth here.
Yeah.
That's not the objective. And the objective is as well not to make Baselworld an electro event.
Yes.
But of course, the music, entertainment, showcases around Baselworld, of course, this could also be something that makes Baselworld more interesting, because people want to live something when they leave Baselworld.
Mm-hmm. Take something with them that's not maybe just the watch.
Yeah.
Something else that's a bit of a novelty for 2020 is that you have agreed to close the dates, make them closer together, SIHH and Baselworld. However, as Fabienne Lupo pointed out, they are still first. So I don't know if that matters. Does that?
It doesn't matter for me whether SIHH is first or Baselworld. Honestly, if a retailer from Asia decides to come to Switzerland and he comes to see both shows, it doesn't make a difference whether SIHH or Baselworld is first. Really, it doesn't make any difference. So,
well, for her, it's because they, if they unveil a watch, it's going to happen first at SIHH.
Maybe it's because I'm a gentleman and I let the priority to Fabienne Lupo. Maybe it's because of that, yeah, of course. Okay. No. When I met her first, it was in autumn. I just wanted, as I did also in the past in other functions, I want to know my competitors. So I called her, I said, hello, I'm the new one. Let's meet and let's talk about it. I want to know you. And so I went to Geneva, we had breakfast together. We had an excellent good feeling and an excellent good personal feeling. And of course we talked about the dates. And both of us knew that in the past they already tried to do it, but it was not possible because in SEH, in Geneva, you have the car show in March, and for us it didn't make sense to be in February with the changing weekends of the Chinese New Year, or in January we couldn't do it in January because we have another fair. So finally we had two possibilities: or we do it in April or in September. And so we finalized and we agreed on April, and I think it makes sense for the industry.
It's not too late, you don't think, in the year? I mean, watches will have already wanted to launch things and put things out there.
You know, I guess she asked her exhibitors, we asked the most important exhibitors here in Basel, and they all said, okay, it's 4 weeks later, it's okay. It's okay for us, but it's such a good idea to coordinate the both dates that 3 or 4 weeks later it doesn't make a change.
Yeah, it's something that the clients, it seems, have been asking for.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
discussion
Years.
for years.
For years.
Yes, for a long time. And can you at least tell me if next year you're going to have still the Rolex and the Patek Philippe's and these guys on board?
You have to ask this question to these brands.
Well, Rolex doesn't talk about anything. I'm asking you because I can't go to
I
them.
don't know it. I don't know it. You know.
But what do you do? Have you done anything to retain them?
No, it's not a question of retaining. It's they have all these brands. They are here for long years. We talk to them. So they were included when we worked out this new vision and this new concept. So they knew perfectly what we are going to talk about next year. And as we talk, I would say once a month we talk with all these brands, so they know exactly what is coming. And therefore, I think they will be here in next year. But you really have to ask them this question.
Before I let you go, I must ask about your LinkedIn profile, because it reads, passion makes a difference. It doesn't have a job title, it just says, passion makes a difference.
Yes, but that's right. I have the privilege that I do something because I love to do it. I love what I'm doing, and when I accepted this job, I ask myself, do I have enough passion to do this? Because as my team and myself, when you work 60, sometimes also a little bit more hours per week, you need passion. You know, for us, it's not a 8 to 5 job. It's really a conviction. So we do it because we love it. And I think when people do something, and that's probably also the reason why I feel so comfortable in this industry, you have a lot of people that really work with a lot of passion. And this passion, you have this passion from the beginning with the designers, the producers, the marketing people. We are also marketing communication people. And finally, we always talk about passion. So if you have the passion, it makes the small difference, and that's the reason why I put the slogan into my LinkedIn profile.
In regards to Hong Kong, then, how do you see the shifting of power to the east? You know, we were talking about the watch fair in Hong Kong, yeah.
Well, I was at this fair, and it's for us it's a very interesting fair because a lot of our clients are over there, and we have to consider that they really do a great job. Once again, the Swiss watchmaker are here in Switzerland, so we have to be here in Switzerland. But we are thinking about doing maybe. It's now we are still talking about the project, but we are seriously thinking about doing something maybe in Hong Kong, maybe in China. It's not yet decided, but I think we have to go where our clients are, and as the Asian market is so important, Baselworld has also to think about the presence in this area of the world.
All right. Well, we have Art Basel Hong Kong, so why
Right.
not Baselworld Hong Kong, right?
Well, we already have a wonderful platform over there, so of course we could think about doing something and be inspired by our colleagues that organize Art Basel in Hong Kong. Yes, of course.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Michel. It was
Yeah.
lovely speaking with you,
Great.
and yeah, best of luck for Baselworld 2019.